Hey everyone, I'm Nickie with Music by Nickie, and I'm going to talk today about a very commonly asked question when I get new students. So I teach violin, viola, and beginner piano. So today I'm going to answer a question that I get a lot, which is, where do you get a violin? Okay, so the number one answer I'm going to tell you right now is a local violin shop. Okay, local violin shop or instrument shop. Okay, but I'm coming from Jacksonville, so I'm going to tell you that the one you're going to want to go to is the one and only Miguel's Violin and Cello shop, located on 11380 Beach Boulevard. Okay, so I'll leave that in the description below. Okay, you want to go to your local violin shop to get a violin for a few reasons, and I'm going to talk about this. Okay, so you want to go to your local violin shop because you can rent a violin. Okay, you can rent it by month, or you can rent to own the instrument, and this is really great for when you're just starting lessons, especially for if it's for your child. Okay, so I get a lot of questions from adult students and parents of children. So I'm just going to go through all of it, okay? So when you're a parent and you're wanting to get your child a violin, okay, the tendency is to want to go on Amazon, eBay, or someone gave you an old one, okay? Now, that's not, terribly wrong. It's just the nicer quality of the instrument, the better things are kind of going to go, generally speaking. So the problem with Amazon instruments, if they're $60 or less, sometimes they look good, they look fine, but they take a long time to tune. So I have to tune the instrument during each lesson. If you come early, I'm probably in another lesson, so I can't tune your instrument, so I have to do it in the lesson. And with a better quality instrument, it's going to keep its tune better, and it's going to just go smoother. So that's one reason, okay? Another reason is that when you get them on Amazon, they don't come with the bridge attached. Okay, so this is the bridge, right? So this is usually separate, and then a teacher has to put that on, okay? And then once in a while, you get a teacher that doesn't know what they're doing, and they put the bridge on backwards, okay? So when you tune it, your strings are going to pop. So that's not a good thing either. So I'm just saying, stay away from Amazon violins, okay? Just go to your local violin shop, okay? So at your local violin shop, you're going to find a person, okay? The one I'm talking about is named Miguel, okay? But they're, if you're in your own city, you're going to find other people. It's fine. So this person is named a luthier, okay? A luthier is someone who works on violins, instruments. They build them, they fix them, and usually they sell them, okay? So they buy and they sell. The reason I love going into the violin shop is because if your kid's going to grow, if they mess up the instrument, or, they just need new things, you can just go right in the shop, boom, easy, okay? So I tell all of my students, where do I get a violin? Where do I get a violin? You go to your local violin shop, and you go in, and you go to Miguel, and you say that you saw Nickie's video, or you're one of Ms. Nickie's students, and you get a violin. Okay, so when you go to the violin shop, it's very reasonably priced for a rental, by the way, you get a violin. Okay, so this is one right here. Okay, this is a violin, or some people call it a fiddle. Okay, but fiddle, violin, whatever. Okay, so you're going to get this, okay? So this is really important for kids to go in and get it because they come in different sizes, okay? Once you get to a certain height, okay, you're going to be playing on a full-size violin, okay, no matter how old you are, okay? That's different for viola. So viola is for how tall you are and how long your arms are. You're going to get a different size viola, okay? So for violin, once you're an adult, one size fits all, okay? But if you're a kid, you have to measure, okay? So there's a rule for children and how long the violin should be, okay? So when you hold the violin on, you want the scroll to come up to about where my watch is. Okay, if it's a viola, it's going to come in the palm. There's the difference right there, okay? So you want to make sure that however old your kid is, or young, right? So my youngest student is 5. The youngest I've ever taught was 3.5 on violin. Yes, I am serious. I've done it, okay? But I really like a good, smart 5-year-old. I tell you, I have some smart 5-year-olds, and I love teaching them. So the age doesn't matter. It's more of, that cognitive process, okay, with the students. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. Talking about finding your first violin, okay? So you want to have the right size for the student, all right? So it comes up to about the watch, okay? So they come in different, like fractions, like a 32nd or size or a 16th, okay? So this is a 4/4 full-size violin, all right? This is what adult students are gonna have, and late middle school and teenagers. It depends on how tall you are, but generally you're gonna be playing on a full-size violin. If you're over the age of like 12, okay? So get it from your local violin shop. Don't get it from Amazon. And if you get it from somewhere like eBay, just do your research. So you want to make sure it's the right size. Okay, you may find a great deal on a violin. You're like, oh, wow, this is it comes with a bow, it comes with the case, comes with everything. And then you get it, it's too small, or you actually accidentally got a fiddle instead of a violin. That happens sometimes. And so that can be a difference of the bridge, whether your bridge is shaved. You might have to get a new bridge. My rule of thumb is the better the instrument, the better life's going to go. Okay? Everyone loves upgrades. So when you get your rental, it's just generally a better quality instrument violin just off the bat from violin shops. Like I said, you can rent to own a more expensive one. Some people really love to own their own violin. I totally get that. I love to own my own instruments. So as instruments increase in price, think about maybe getting insurance on your violin in case something happens to it, okay? So instrument care is really important when it comes to like weather. You don't want it in an area that's too hot or too cold or anything like that. So you always want to take care of it. So with your rental or what you're going to need for violin lessons with me, period, you're going to need your violin, okay? And when you get it from the shop, it comes with a case, a shoulder rest, rosin, and a bow. Okay, so you get the bow. Now, bows are interesting because bows can also change in price, right? They can range. Generally, your bow should be worth about half of what your violin is. Okay, so I've known some instrumentalists that have played on like $25 bows. They were next to me in a Belmont Symphony Orchestra, so, hey, I'm playing on a $25 bow. And I was just like, what? So some of it's the player. You can have a really good player on a not so good bow and it sounds good. I've played on some nice bows and I like the nice bows, the expensive bows, those $600, $1,000 bows. Those are nice. Okay, I really like those, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about beginner bows. Okay. What you want to know about the bow is you want it to be clean so you can put fresh rosin on it. All right. That's an issue I have found with clients that bring in older instruments that they've found or people have given them, is that the bow's usually not in good shape, right? So if the bow stays in the attic for years, right, the horsehair is going to come out. And then what I also noticed is the screw doesn't want to turn very well. Like it's like kind of like jammed with like goo or something. Most of the time the violin shop got, the luthier can fix that. But sometimes he will say it's not worth the bow. It's just worth getting a new bow. Like, it's better that way. So that is up to you. It's really about the sound. Even if you're a beginner, right? You're going to be making some scratchy sounds when you first start the violin, and that's okay. But you still want some good equipment to start off right off the bat. Now, there is the philosophy of whatever instrument you have, you work the hardest you can to make it sound the best that you can, and you push and you push and you fight and you put up a good fight and you make that violin sound good, I get that. I've done that with my previous instruments, but then when you get to a certain point, it's okay to upgrade. If it's in your means, it's in your financial means, So for me and my students, the parents of my students are very supportive, and the more that the student grows and that me and the student grow together, because it's a relationship, the more we grow together, the more that the parent will be like, yes, okay, Ms. Nickie, what do they need? What do they need? And I'm just not like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. But I consciously say, this is why you should purchase this for the instrument. This is why this is a good idea. And I have found in my experience that, I'll warn them. Like, if this doesn't happen, this will happen. And usually it does. Okay. One of the things is, what if an accident happens with the violin, right? I have a lot of students that have hardwood floors or tile floors. Well, wood and hardwood or tile floors don't mix. So if you accidentally drop your violin, or if you have younger siblings, right, and they want to grab it and stuff like that, and things break, this is where Amazon's not going to help you. And you're going to have to take that not so good violin that you got off of Amazon to the violin shop anyway so they can fix it, or you have to just return the whole instrument. So wouldn't you rather just rent it, and then if something happens you can take it to the luthier and he can fix it? So you're kind of already cutting out a middleman right there. So just don't even. Now Amazon is great for books and accessories, but instruments, leave it to the pros. Go to luthiers, go to the violin shops. I like so many violin shops on Facebook. It's like violin shop here and violin shop there, now ironically there's not a lot in Florida. So the violin shop that I mentioned here in Jacksonville, he's very local, but he also expands through Southeast Florida, and even parts of Florida, so he's a really good resource. And another fun thing about going to the violin shop is that if you can go in person, say you have a 10-year-old that's about to start violin lessons with me or whatever. You take that 10-year-old and their siblings and you walk into the violin shop together. Now all of a sudden, you're getting a new violin and you're getting an additional musical experience by going in the cool shop and seeing all the cool instruments, okay? So upright basses, cellos, harps, guitars, banjos, mandolins, it goes on, okay? So, that is my advice, okay? So that is the answer to the question, and I say what I just said, basically, in my first lessons. Actually, I say it before they come for the first lesson, okay? So when you come for my first lesson, you already need a violin, Now, if it's like, oh, I'm getting it, okay, short amount of time, but, if you don't show up for the first lesson with the violin, it's not going to be very fun, right? It's just going to be me talking, okay? So you just want to get the violin already done, okay? So there are a lot more questions that, people have for me, age and these online music questions on, how productive the online lessons are. So if you have questions, let me know. So if you have any questions about where to get a violin or where to find our local violin shop, which is, like I said, Miguel's Violin and Cello Shop, all right, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. I left that information down below, okay, in the description. All right, if you haven't, give it a like on my music Facebook page, facebook.com/music by Nickie. And my YouTube, same thing. So I'm going to be producing a lot of more content. All right. I'm going to do a lot more live videos. I'm trying, and a lot more pre-recorded songs, instrumental covers that I'm actually going to try and sing, which I'm excited for, and trying to do some instrumental originals. So that's kind of what I'm doing on my side. As far as teaching goes, I have a lot of one-on-one students. I have some in person with masks. I'm trying to be careful about that. Because of the pandemic, and I have a lot online. So I do have some availability left. I have about 6 1-hour slots left in the week. Okay, and then that's pretty much going to be full. So if you know anyone who wants violin, viola, or beginner piano lessons from a very good, well-trusted teacher, which is me, pass my stuff along and share it. Okay, so I just got 2 new students. One was an adult and one's a 5-year-old, so all ages, okay? All ages for violin. I'm just going to answer another question really quick, okay? And one is, can you learn an instrument online? Never before have you played the violin? Can you do it online? Okay, there's a lot of discussion about this. My answer is yes, okay? Yes. Now, there are technical difficulties, and you can upgrade your equipment just like you can the violin. You can upgrade mics and things like that. It takes time. But generally speaking, my teaching expertise is not going to change online as it would in person. I'm going to tell you the same things, and we're going to go through the same music that I would in person as online, okay? And eventually, in person is just not enough for me, okay? I want to expand, and I want to reach out more. So for me, I'm very pro online lessons. Now, I will say that there are some things that you can only do in person. Okay. So, but right now it's a risk, okay? Because in person, you kind of have to physically touch the student, okay? And this can happen with piano or violin, okay? Because a lot of it is that physical muscle memory of the instrument, okay? So when I'm teaching students, a lot of them have a lot of tension in this hand, okay? And what I tell my students is tension and the violin do not mix. They don't go together, okay? tension, violin, no bueno, in either hand. So I say that a lot, but there is something, I think, in our brains of that physical, and I really don't have to do much. I literally just have to like poke their hand with a pencil and be like, hey, this is too tense. Okay, you need to change it. And I have to implement that immediately because it took me a lot of years to not have tension when I started to play. Okay, but then when I realized that tension was the problem and kind of like analyzing that through my high school years, and I fixed that, and it became very freeing for me once that was fixed. So anyway, bringing it back around, yes, you can learn online with me, and it is okay. Okay, may not have perfect audio, but there are a lot of people going through that right now, and it is okay. Okay, so it is okay to take lessons online. All right, just embrace it. Okay, so question: where do you get a violin? Answer: your local violin shop. Done. Okay. As you grow and as you learn about the instrument and new things about it, yeah, you know, someone has a cool one in your attic that belonged to your great-great-grandpa and it's from World War I, you know, that's fine. But if you've never, ever touched the instrument before, just do yourself a favor. Get it from the violin shop. I'll put tapes on it. I will teach you how to read the music and to learn the instrument. But do yourself a favor. Don't get it on Amazon because I'm just going to tell you to get it from the violin shop anyway. So that is that. And the second question was, can you learn music lessons online? Answer is yes. Third question, who could I possibly hire to teach my child or myself the violin, viola, or beginner piano? And the answer is Music by Nickie, me right here. So you need to book. You want a free consultation? Book today. You want to book 30 minutes? You want to book an hour? Go right ahead. So if you have any questions, message me and let me know. And that is it for today. And I hope you have a good weekend. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.